Okay, hello VIPs. My name is Ellen and I'm your guest speaker tonight, and thank you, Stephanie. I knew someone was probably telling me it was the right group, but there's such a lag time between thank you. It is my birthday. So first, my name is Ellen. If we haven't met, hello. And it's my birthday, and I'm spending my birthday with you ladies. I taught Piyo today, and when I walked in, someone's like, "You're teaching today on your birthday?" I was like, "Yeah, like this is gonna be one of the absolute highlights of my day. Are you kidding? Of course I'm doing Piyo on my birthday." And of course I'm coming in this group on my birthday. So actually I'm going to San Francisco tomorrow. I'm leading a Piyo presentation and an instructor training at a conference there. So I'm a master trainer with Piyo, and I'm part of the talent team. So some of you guys might have seen me in some of the rounds these last couple of years. So again, my name's Ellen, and we're gonna be talking tonight about branding. And I thought I would start off by telling you guys a story. And believe it or not, it's not a story that I've had practice talking about. It's not something I talk very much about to very many people. I'm going to share with you the evolution and story behind this bodysuit tattoo. And thank you, because I think that it will be, I think it will parallel as I talk to you about when I started getting this tattoo and sort of where my head was at and how it evolved into what it is today. I really think you guys can extract some practical applications and make some parallels into what you do in this business and with this brand in terms of branding, because the common theme is evolution. So first let me tell you the story and then we'll connect some of the dots. I have been fascinated with tattoos, probably like a lot of people, not everyone, but like a lot of people. I found some of them really cool, and of course some like not so much. I sort of kind of always liked the idea of getting a tattoo, but I never could stick with an idea of an image that I liked longer than 6 months. So I thought, gosh, I probably shouldn't get tattooed because I change my mind all the time. But when I was 37, and I'm 43 today, which by the way, being in my 40s totally qualifies me to give a call on branding because when you're in your 40s, you don't care about what other people think anymore and you can just be yourself. It's the best. So anyway, let me get back to the point. I was interested in getting tattooed for a long time. And I finally decided to get serious about it when I was 37. And what I mean by get serious about it was get a small tattoo. And so I really was scared, and I really wanted to find an artist that I could trust. So I started looking around, asking lots of questions, doing lots of research online. I went to a tattoo convention here in Eugene, Oregon, where I live. And, you know, at a convention, I don't know if you've ever been to a tattoo convention, likely not. There's just booths. It's like a craft fair, but everybody's tattooing, and it's artists from all over around the country, and regional tattoo artists, and you get to basically shop and look at their portfolios. And so I did that, didn't find an artist. And then one day I was teaching a class, and this was a cycle class, and I saw the most beautiful tattoo I'd ever seen in my life. And it was on some guy's arm. And he was in my class. And I was like, oh, that's the artist. I've got to find out who did his tattoo. I hope they live in the States. I hope I don't have to fly on an airplane. So anyway, come to find out, the tattoo artist that did this guy's tattoo lived in the States. So that's where it started. He told me he doesn't see new clients. He's really hard to get into. His books are closed. And he's like, but if you drive down there, it's 3 hours away. His shop is 3 hours away from my house. If you drive down there and meet him and talk to him personally, he might make an exception. I was like, holy crap, a 3-hour drive just because he might make an exception. Okay, I'll do it. So I did. I made a 3-hour drive just hoping that this guy would be in his shop that day. And I asked him to tattoo me. And I'm an artist too, so I'd drawn a sketch of what I wanted, and he was kind of like, no, this won't translate so well 3-dimensionally. And so anyway, that's where it started. And I had a small vine, like it's called filigree, tattooed down my arm, just like 3/4 of the way down my arm, very airy, not closed, so you could see lots of my skin, and it went down my side into my hip. And hi, Miss Larissa. And I was terrified, you guys. Terrified. I'm a hypochondriac, so I was like, what if I'm one of the people that has like an allergic reaction to the ink, and what if it looks terrible, and what if like my father disowns me, and my parents are gonna just die. I grew up in a super conservative Christian home, and just like tattoos were not accepted, and I just had so much fear and so much, I was worried about, is it gonna hurt? Like, what if I can't handle the pain? All these things. I remember being so full of fear, so full of fear. I didn't trust. And then I liked it and I wanted more. That's so funny, Laura, you're a hypochondriac too. It's so funny. I'm such a hypochondriac. Oh, it's horrible. Then I was like, I did like it, but I'm like, but I want a sleeve. I actually want a sleeve. Okay, so then I decided, then I went and got a sleeve, but only 3/4 of the way. It only went to here because I was afraid of what people would think. And I wanted to be able to hide my tattoos. That was like paramount important to me. I didn't want my dad to ever know that I ever got a tattoo, even though I was 37 years old at the time. So I made sure that it was 3/4, and I wanted him to stop at 3/4. I was afraid. Had this beautiful sleeve done. Then I wanted to keep going. So I had my back done. Still safe, you guys. Still safe. I was less afraid of the pain at that point because I realized I could handle it, but I was still hiding it. I was like, I can get my back tattooed and no one really needs to know. My dad doesn't need to know. I can still hide it at church. Like, it's like, I'll just hide. It's just my back. It's just part of my arm, part of this arm, and my back. Then I had both sleeves done, and I had them done over my wrist. And I remember how scary this was to me, going across my wrist, because that meant to me I could no longer hide it. Unless I had cute Lulu tops with the little thumb cutouts, that's the only way I can now hide my arms, my tattoo. So I remember that being very terrifying for me. And I also at that time was learning about Japanese style tattooing, which is not something I knew about when I started. I'm going to make a point to all this. I'm going to bring it back around to you and your Piyo practice and your brand. I'm going to. Bear with me. So I was learning about this process and this different style of tattooing that isn't really Western style. And I won't go into it here, the differences, but I was learning about it and kind of interested but closed to the idea because I knew that it was full body. And my husband was not always totally on board. There was so many obstacles along the way. I was always, until very recently, a step ahead of my husband's acceptance of this. And I want to honor him. And he wants to not be controlling. So he would say, yes, go. But I don't really want you to do your legs. Like, so anyway, so there was just this process, and there was always struggle and turmoil. Then I did my front, like my belly and my torso, my trunk, and my sternum. And I remember the pain was so bad when I had my sternum tattooed that I fainted. I fainted from pain because there was an obstacle. It was another struggle, something else for me to contend with. And I still felt like I could kind of hide things. And then I remember getting the top of my chest and a pier tattooed and feeling like this was a whole new level of like, now there's no going back. Now people are going to view me as the tattooed freak. Now I'm going to start receiving messages from people, which I did, like, Ellen, what are you doing to yourself? And is this an idol in your life? And scrutiny and negativity. I somehow knew, and I was right, that when I came up into this chest area and sternum area, I somehow knew that people were gonna think she's gonna start tattooing her face and her neck, and that wasn't part of the style, this Japanese style. So anyway, to kind of wrap that part up, I finally decided not very long ago to finish the bodysuit, the Japanese style bodysuit, which means my legs too. I ended up with the full support of my husband, thank goodness. It's always nice. And I've learned so much. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about abandoning my need for acceptance and approval from everyone. I've learned so much because in this, and I'm going to relate this to you, I hope you're already relating this to you a little bit, that it was okay for me to be alone in this. I don't have another friend in the world, not one, that's doing what I'm doing. Not one. Hi, Marlena. I mean, I've met some girls now online that are doing a bodysuit tattoo, and I feel a connection with them. They're just Instagram friends. That's it. I don't have a friend in the world doing what I'm doing. So the journey has felt alone, and there have been parts of the journey along the way where the pieces of the tattoo didn't look good because they weren't done. Because when you're doing large scale work, you can't finish it all in one little appointment. It's large scale. So there were times where my back looked not good. It looked very unfinished. And if you didn't trust or didn't know, and I would just tell my husband, like, I trust it's going to come along. It's going to be beautiful. And so all that to say that from the age 37 till present, I have been going through this transformation, both external and internal. And I do think it relates to the transformation that you, as an instructor, as a Piyo instructor, go on as you grow and learn lessons and become more and more who you are, and more who you are with this brand and in this brand and because of this brand. I think there's some correlations because it's not always pretty. There's a lot of fear at the beginning. There's uncertainty, and there's not always full confidence. But there is the belief. There is, or you wouldn't be in this group. You are my people. Like, you are absolutely, you are like me. Because had I had a Piyo project to do when I became Piyo certified, I absolutely would be in this Piyo VIP group, invested like you guys are, sitting up straight, learning everything I can. That says so much to me about who's on the other end of this live video. I was like you, hungry, willing, wanting to grow and learn and fine-tune and improve, and I had the foresight and the vision, just like you do, to know it's a process, to know it's a long haul, and really ultimately that we never arrive, because I certainly have not arrived. But I have grown. There has been so much growth. Before I talk a little bit more about Piyo specifically, I wanted to give you a metaphor of a pearl. I was recently reading about pearls because they are amazing. They are not always a grain of sand that gets caught in a clam or a mussel or an oyster. That's sort of the more romantic version of how a pearl is formed. But it is an irritant, but most likely it's a parasite, which is a lot grosser sounding than a grain of sand. Like if I had to like put either a parasite or a grain of sand in my mouth, I'd rather put a grain of sand in my mouth. So anyway, a pearl is formed by this lubricant layer, this basically fluid layer that protects the shell, that protects the clam, layer by layer by layer by layer by layer, until it's this illustrious, beautiful, shiny, perfect pearl. It started as a parasite or a grain of sand. It started yucky, messy, like we do, like we are, like I just denied a call from my brother. He lives in Texas. When I started teaching, not Piyo, but when I started group exercise, I was the one that couldn't hear the beat. And when you can't hear the beat, you can't cue right. Because first things first, you have to know where the beat is to cue in the right timing. And so I was very much a parasite or a grain of sand. And I remember that. I remember that when I see sometimes, and Larissa's on here too, and she can probably relate as she's in the talent too, and Andy, and when Beachbody Live will put out these little sizzles, like, and I've been in the round, and they put out a little sizzle of it, like a sizzle video, you know. Oh, that's why my brother was calling. I was like, my brother never calls me. He's like, he just texted me and said happy birthday. I'm like, okay. So anyway, when I see those sizzles and I see myself in there, you guys, it's weird, because I'm still that parasite grain of sand. Like, I'm still that same person. I'm still that same person. And I'm glad I still see myself as that same person. And so one of the things I want to do with my time with you guys tonight is encourage you guys to have pretty wild and crazy dreams about where you can go with Piyo in your life. And how you can make it, while it's a trademark and while it's a brand, very unique, stylized to you, so that your class is different even though it's the same. The journey is bumpy, and just like my progression with my tattoo, thank you, Susan, the journey is sometimes painful, sometimes humiliating. It's been humiliating and painful for me learning to be a better instructor. I get bad feedback. It doesn't feel good. All the mistakes and horrible things that can go wrong in a class, they've happened to me. Like forgetting I just watched Michelle's Good to Great about bringing her backup thing. Like everything that can go wrong, I think has gone wrong. And those classes like that are painful. And, but they grow, they grow us, they help us. They're more, lubricant on that irritant that turns us into the pearl. So let's see. I don't want to take time. I actually do want to, but I'm not going to, because Michelle's Good to Great stuff that she's giving you this week is the how-to. It is. It's the how to go from good to great. It's the how to go from good to great. Confidence is everything. One of the things I heard recently on a podcast by Bob Heilig, I love his podcast. He said, gratitude leads to motivation. And he said it and it stuck in me, and I was like, is that true? Wait, I've never heard that before. Let me think about that. Gratitude leads to motivation. Gratitude leads to motivation. And then I was like, it does. I get it. It does. It does. So I think when we stay grounded in that, where we came from, and that we're just that grain of sand, and we struggle with this and we struggle with that, and we've got this long road ahead of us, and we're going to fail forward messy and imperfectly. We stay grounded in that, then we can't help but be grateful. And that keeps us motivated. So one of my encouragements to you guys tonight is to stay grateful, to dream really big. I went to, I'm going to wrap it up really soon, by the way, because it's my birthday. I went to MIA, Marketing Impact Academy. Laura was there, and she actually let me stay at her house. Actually, when she Zooms with you guys, I'm like, she's Zooming from my bedroom because I stayed in that room in her house. And Michelle was there. I stayed with Michelle too. And so what was my point? Oh, Shalene, this is important. Shalene said, you know how people say like, thank you, Ashley. You know how people say like, oh, I just can't believe it happened to me. Like, oh, I can't believe it. And so I'm going to give you the parallel of like me having the opportunity to do a group like this, or to be part of Piyo's talent team, for me to be like, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. Shalene was like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you did. You had to have believed it could be possible. You had to have believed it could be possible. And so my encouragement to you guys tonight, Michelle's given you the how-to. The blueprint is there. You've learned so much already. You're invested. You're the right kind of people. You're the passionate, invested, want to grow kind of people that I love spending time with, even on my birthday. That's there. Stay fueled by your gratitude and believe in huge things with this. I've always, something that served me really well in the fitness industry is, and then I'm going to close in a couple minutes, is trying to be like a notch above. And I'm not talking about anyone else. I'm talking about me, like a notch above where I am really, a notch above where my position really is. So if my position is like a mediocre instructor at the gym, for me, like I want to be the greatest. I want to be the best. Like, or like before I was a master trainer, I taught my classes like I was a master trainer. I tried to put on that air of master trainer aura. And that's always really served me well. Like I remember, maybe you've heard me share this before in other places, because for some reason I talk about this stupid piece of gum all the time because it really was impactful for me. But there was an instructor complaining about a piece of gum in the water fountain in our gym one day. And I like went over there and picked it up and put it in the trash. like pride, like I'm the owner of the gym, even though I'm not. So always being like a notch above. And I think that's huge. Okay, I want to close with this. You guys know those Hershey Kisses. Everybody imagine Hershey Kisses. They come in different color tin foils. They're all the same shape. All the same shape. Just like we're all Beachbody live instructors, and we're all representing Piyo. So we are all the same. Like cookie cutter, we're all Hershey Kiss shaped. But all those Hershey Kisses have little differences. Some of them have a purple foil, and the little tag that sticks out of the top says dark. Those are the best ones, by the way. Some of them are silver, and they just say kisses. They're basic. And then some of them say hugs, because they're cookies and cream. And some of them have caramel in them. And some of them have almonds in them, and the little tag says almond. So I love this example. I'm gonna close with it tonight. We wanna be our own Hershey Kiss. We wanna stay true to the brand, dress the part, Michelle, all the things. We wanna dress the part, we wanna know our choreography, we wanna be consistent in our choreography and in our representation of Piyo, but with our own color foil and our own unique tag that comes out of the top. And it won't happen overnight. It will be a slow, long, bumpy, messy, tedious, sometimes brutal journey, beautiful journey. So that's kind of all I have for you guys tonight. My challenge to you, I hope I'm allowed to give you guys homework. Laura, can I give them homework? My homework for you tonight is, what makes you different? Why are you different? How many people? There's 6 people on this live video in this small private group. I think I saw that there were 20 people in the group today when I looked to find the group. You are different than everyone else in this group. Maybe you're totally into Star Wars, or maybe you're a really good singer, or maybe you love Disney. I don't know. Maybe you have super long, sharp, pointy fingernails. Maybe, I don't know. There is something, maybe you're hysterical. You are not like anyone else. And it's in that uniqueness that you can become your best Piyo instructor, is if you play into what sets you apart. All right, you guys, that is all I have. I'll have a piece of cake on you. My birthday. It's funny, actually nobody's home. My husband will be home soon, but nobody's home. I've got the house to myself, so it's really not that exciting. You guys are the party. You are my birthday party. Thank you for being on, all of you guys. Connect with me on social. Connect with me on Instagram. Instagram is where I'm sharing my tattoo story. I don't really put that on Facebook so much. All right, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments. And tag me. I want to hear why you are unlike anyone else in this group. All right, you guys. Good night, good night.